Hey everyone, how are you? Monday lunchtime? We awake? Yeah.
Hello.
Idina, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us at Google. We could not be more thrilled, and as you can see, you got a huge lunchtime crowd coming out.
I only see empty, but I'm only focusing on the empty seats. Where are those people?
Yeah.
My manager hates me because whenever I play, I'll play like a packed house, and I'll see two people in the front that just probably their kid got sick and they couldn't make it. And I'm like, why did we sell those 2 fucking seats in the front? He's like, I did, I swear to God. I hate it. It just makes me insecure. Anyway, sorry. Am I allowed to curse at Google?
Yeah, you're good. This is an adult audience, so we're good. Nobody's here's ever cursed in their whole life. I can see it now. So thank you for coming. You have a new album out, and one that is, I think somebody's told me, deeply personal to you. And would love to lead off there of sort of your journey and sort of what led you to this album.
Aren't most people's albums deeply personal? I mean, everybody asks me that, and it is. It's true, but I don't know. It's like whose album do we love that isn't deeply personal?
Right. One would hope.
But mine is. You know? Yeah, I don't know. The last 3 or 4 years, about 3 years, I guess. I had like a lot of conflicting dynamics, I guess you could say. I was simultaneously going through a divorce while Frozen was going on its whole crazy trajectory. So I literally would go from singing at the Oscars to heading to a mediation agreement discussing like visitation about my son, you know. So it was just professionally speaking an incredible time, and personally speaking, you know, very complicated. So I had a lot to write about. And it just felt like a good time to get back in the studio and, you know, put it into some music.
That's awesome. And thank you for going there so early in the conversation.
Personal.
It was amazing. And, you know, as you were sort of building the album as well, and just being the theater geek that I am, I'm thinking about the time and place we are in theater right now, with what's happened with Hamilton, what we're seeing in sort of transformative. And you've really been a part of some of the most transformative shows in theater, period. Everybody, Rent, right? And, right, there's the applause, yeah, right. And not to mention Wicked, yeah. There we go, just 2 right there. And
I do one every 10 years, one zeitgeist kind of project every 10 years, and the rest I starve and I'm go into obscurity, and then all of a sudden I get a job, and it's like, oh, that's a big deal, and then I'm back on top again. But
you basically just drop the mic constantly.
Yeah, I wish I was cool enough to actually do a mic drop like that, but no, I've been really, really lucky. But I also have experienced the ebb and flow of this industry, which I think is why I'm able to really enjoy when those moments happen, because I know how fleeting they can be. And you know, so I actually more than ever can like get on stage and take in the moment and realize how lucky I am, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, and wow, people showed up, and you know, but that all started with my first professional experience, which was Rent, and that entire mindset of our composer passing away on the night of our I think it was our invited dress, which is like the night before an audience. Actually, it was the first preview, because there wasn't, invited dress, yeah. Anyway, so when your career starts with that kind of event, it kind of dictates how you see this industry and your art, and gives you a perspective And I was lucky because we were at a young age that happened, and we could have like lost perspective and objectivity. But instead, of getting caught up in all of the magazines and the accolades, our cast actually, I've never worked in any show that this has ever happened since. We didn't miss, not one person missed a show for at least 6 months. 8 shows a week, singing at the top of our lungs, because we were so committed to, whether we were sick or not, to getting up there and making sure we put out his message. It was just, that was the most important thing.
Wow, that's amazing. And with that, I hadn't even thought about that actually in the context of that question. Before that moment, you talked about the ebbs and flows, and obviously that was both, again, at the same time, that sort of trajectory, which you talked about actually up top with your album now as well, the sort of the conflicting emotions of the high and the low at the same time, which is the same thing that happened with Rent. Up to that point, which is the stuff we can't really Google, is before Rent. What was the seed that got planted in you wanting to do theater, wanting to sing all the time? What was that driving force for you that led you to that sort of first big professional moment of Rent that you feel prepared you for, or did it? Or
oh yeah, there are different ones. It's kind of like saying what your first love was. Was it the kid in kindergarten that like kissed you on the cheek, or was it the guy you first had sex with? I mean, what's first love, really, right? So that's a really bad example. But,
it's okay, we're just getting real here.
No, but I do. I always think about that. It's like when people say first love, well, I think I really loved this kid, Evan Beller, when I was in kindergarten, but I certainly didn't let him go up my shirt or anything. Do you know what I mean? So... Is it how early? It's early. I think I'm tired. The album came out this week, and I've been like surprising drag shows and gay clubs at midnight, and I'm like, I don't know what time zone I'm on. So you're gonna get me a little delirious and stick foot directly into mouth. What was the question again? Oh yeah, first shirts. Like moment, right? Well, yeah. So my point being, it could either be when my grandfather Nathan, Grandpa Nat, would put a fake toy microphone in my hand when I was 5 and do shows with me in the living room, or it could be when I sang at this talent show. We were up in the Catskills where the Jews all go, and it was a family trip, and our parents sent us to the day camp, and we did this little talent show, and I sang "The Way We Were" with a full-on Long Island accent, but everybody's percolating. People turned to my parents and said, "Oh, she could be special," So like, I don't know. There's those times. And that was about theater, yeah. Oh, it could have been the time where my grandmother took me to see A Star Is Born with Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. That kind of changed my life. That idea of being put on a stage and having to win over an audience of people that were booing you, and being so good and captivating that it stopped them all in their tracks. Something like that, about that, was amazing to me. And then parents got divorced when I was a teenager, and my mom was dating this cool guy that really believed in me a lot and said, you should write music, and knew some guy that was in the wedding bar mitzvah scene in Long Island, and helped me lie about my age, because I was 15, and illegally driving to all of these gigs, and got me a gig with Tony Saida and the Echoes in Oceanside. And I knew like 3 songs. It was What a Feeling from Flashdance, Evergreen, and like, I forget that song, like the Sunshine song. Na, 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 na. Anyway, I can't think of it. But, and then I started doing weddings and bar mitzvahs and having to learn all of this music, and it was like an education for me. I had to learn like Motown and Aretha and jazz, Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald, and all of a sudden then I didn't want to necessarily do theater. I wanted to be like a rock star. So I went back and forth between Annie when I was little and Peter Pan, and then wanting to write my music and record and all that. And so it's been a constant dance for me, even till this day, sitting here with you, trying to get people to accept me, my desire to cross over from the theater and be have integrity as a rock or a pop singer or songwriter. It's just followed me, this little dance, trying to straddle both places and be accepted in both.
And do you feel like, that's really, by the way, I'm just picturing you singing at bar and bat mitzvahs, like in my head. And did you feel like with this album and sort of, even just looking at the track list and people's comments, sort of really picking up on your pop track in a real way, like the intentionality there of all the genre crossing because of your influences, sort of what was your thought process there? And what do you hope, like as we all listen to the album, what we hear from you as part of that journey?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Well, it's funny, I've done a couple albums before this that it meant more to me, this whole crossover thing, and it didn't happen. I got dropped, or I sold like 3 albums or whatever. So at this point in my life, so many things have happened that that I'm proud of, and I get up on stage and I do a concert, and it's the set list is a chronology of my life, of the songs in my life, and some of it's Defying Gravity from Wicked, and some of it's an old Joni Mitchell song because it inspired me, and then there's Let It Go from Frozen, and then there's original music, and I used to worry that that was confusing in some way and didn't have the cohesion, but now I realize the cohesion, the common denominator is me and all of my experiences, and I'm almost, and I'm 45 years old, and this is who I am, this is the life I've led, and so I gotta stop trying to worry. I got to stop worrying about it, And so when I went in the studio this time, I picked producers that I love that have worked with people that I really admire. But once we got in there, we just wrote music and hung out and recorded, and I stopped worrying about that. All I cared about was that they supported me being honest and trying different things, but what I think has happened is it has a really cool current mainstream kind of sound, and so hopefully I just want to expand my audience. Really, that's all.
Love that, and it's really interesting also, sort of given the context, interestingly, of the sort of groundbreaking theater you've been a part of that's sort of bent also what is theater and what the music is that is in theater. I'm thinking about Rent and Rock. And Wicked really taking us into like full Broadway big belt number, and thinking even about the trajectory of theater itself right now, with Hamilton, a lot of experimenting happening. And also with the advent of digital, I mean, we're here at Google and thinking about all the artists that are sort of genre crossing because there's no box you have to live in.
Exactly, and we have more control as artists. We can put ourselves and self-promote. We don't have to rely just on our label understanding us. We can trust the public to just want to hear music, love music. And like so many of the theater fans I have, they're amazing music aficionados. They love music. They're not just theater kids. They love everything. They just love good music and good writing. So why not just put it out there and let the people find it, So that's really empowering for artists now, to not back in the day when I was trying to, get a record deal and playing down at the bitter end and in the Village, and it was all about just getting a record deal and the label and being accepted by these people. And now, as long as you can tour, which is the most important thing to me, to be able to make a paycheck and go out and sing and on a stage for people, then I have the power back, which is exciting.
It's amazing. I mean, I feel like if I took a poll right now of the audience, how many of you are just obsessed with this woman's voice in general, right? Exactly. I think your voice, not to say but it defies like any particular genre. I know the pun was too easy, but it really does defy any particular genre. I think you just heard it, we're all obsessed with your voice and what you're bringing as an artist. So I think in that way, this is amazing.
I've been working with a voice teacher for over 20 years. She's not the kind of teacher that you would think. Before her, when I was younger, I studied classically, But then when I started listening to all of the other music, I thought, well, I don't want to sound like that, like a lot of people sound when they've been overly trained and then they try to sing soulful music or whatever. And hers was sort of, her technique is actually the untraining, the sort of, she prepares me how to breathe and keep my voice so I can do 8 shows a week and not hurt myself, and I can build my range and all of that stuff. So we definitely have a regiment that I can explain if anybody's interested in that. But the point being, it's about singing from a place of speaking, as opposed to like, that doesn't sound like any of us talk, right? So nothing against that kind of singing, but my particular, what I gravitate to is coming from speaking, even if it's the way I would yell to you on a playground if I was a kid. That's just my higher part of my voice. But it all comes from how we would communicate, as humans, as our real voice. And I believe that that's what makes people sound, gives an audience a real connection to somebody, is because they're really talking and not performing, overproducing this sound. So I don't know why I told you that. I forget what you said.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
So we're just having a conversation. So here we are.
Sorry. I keep drinking the coffee. It's not really helping. I'm just like,
no, it's amazing.
Maybe it is helping, and I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
No, it's amazing. I think everybody's enwrapped, like sort of just shaking their head in agreement with you, that relatability. And like you were saying earlier, the sort of artifice between you and the audience has sort of disappeared in so many ways, that connection of what you're talking about, really singing in a way that's accessible to human speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It even
the only
resonates
thing
more.
working against that is that we all listen to music that's been fixed and auto-tuned so much that now what is perfect and imperfect is can be debated. And when you go to a live concert, are you really hearing people or not? And so when you actually hear someone that chooses to actually sing even when she has a bad cold, or it's that time of month, or she was up at 3 a.m. with her son, or fighting with her boyfriend, and I don't sound perfect, it's caused a lot of it's taken some of the love out of it for me. The social media takes a lot out of it because I read it like an asshole, and that people can just go on there and immediately talk about everything, and so it's made it harder to enjoy it. I have to really kind of like turn it off and find the love of singing, and also remember that there have been many shows where I've sung and not been at top of my game, and people still are in tears or still feel something, and I remember, it's not because I hit a really high note that makes someone feel something. It's because what you're communicating as a person. So I have to remember that. But my whole life has been about, my entire identity has been based on the fact that when I was a young girl, I had this voice. And so as I've gotten older, I've had to understand that, I have a lot more to offer the world than just being a singer. And but sometimes I forget that myself.
Well, it also comes from even the earlier days. You were saying you were sort of taught to think about songwriting very early on, which I would imagine has actually helped in terms of thinking beyond just where the pigeonholes might be, with people thinking about you. And with that, were there any for you like defining moments in your career, either joyous or really tough? I know we talked a bit about Rent, but have there been any other moments for you that just really stand out as an artist, or maybe in a moment that you suddenly felt like you had defied maybe one of those boxes that somebody had maybe put you in?
Yeah, well, the success of Let It Go and Frozen, because you said, like with Rent, that it was this rock pop musical, and you would think that then that would open doors for me to be able to walk between all of these lines, but it wasn't. Whenever I'd go into a recording studio with a big-time producer, songwriter, they'd sort of admonish me and say, like, oh, you're too expressive. You have all that Broadway training, you know, or you have to sound more like Sheryl Crow. Throw it away, you know. And then, and so I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So then, help me.
Is defining moments where you sort of broke the box.
Oh yeah. And so they would have all of these rules, like theater people never going to get on the radio on a pop station. And then all of a sudden, cut to like 15 years later, I'm like taking my kid to school and Z100's on, and I hear "Let It Go." I'm like, what the hell, you know? And you just can't worry about those rules. And I did for a long time. You just got to keep moving and going and taking work that makes you feel good, and surround yourself with people that that teach you stuff, and just keep going, because the trends and the rules, they always break and move and change. And all of a sudden you hear like a bridge, like what's the bridge in Let It Go? Is like frozen fractals all around. There's like these crazy lyrics that would never be in a pop song.
The word fractals?
Yeah.
I mean,
who rhymes with fractals? Not me. I didn't write it. But like, you know? So, but it's become like this huge pop culture moment, you know? So go figure, and fuck all those people that like wrote me off. So, you know, that was a big defining moment, a teaching moment for me. Just to know you can't keep following a trend, because by the time you get there, it's changed already. So just keep doing your thing. This album's a big deal, just because, you know, I was with my ex-husband we were married a long time, but together even longer, so like 16 years, and grew up together. And so to figure out how to separate yourself, who you are, separate from that person, and to be creative without worrying about what he would think, was interesting. And liberating too, to just get in the studio and go and not worry, and figuring out how to stop regretting all of that stuff and pave the way for some new exciting stuff to happen. You know, I got engaged recently.
Woo! Congratulations.
Thanks.
And with that, just thinking, I mean, even about Let It Go and this sort of, and the new album and where that came from, the journey, I think, you know, at least from what I've seen, and I work a lot on inclusion issues and representation issues as part of my day job.
I was just in the bathroom stall, and there's a thing about inclusion. As I was sitting on the toilet, you put a thing in front of me about inclusion.
Learning on the loo.
Learning on the loo. Okay, got it. Well, I was reading it.
It was effective. If somebody's in here who did that, fantastic. DNI at Google. And, you know, the fun part about that is we work with a lot of artists, you know, who are viewed as role models in the industry, and sort of, as our friend Gina Davis says, if you can see it, you can be it. And given Frozen, you brought up Frozen and Let It Go, and now actually sort of defining yourself entirely in this way with the album and in this new moment. Who was a role model in your life, and have you felt that idea of a role model fall on you now, given how many little girls and boys, you know, kind of latched on to your music who may have not known you before? What's that been like, and can you trace it to somebody in your own life?
Yeah. Well, first of all, my sister is a huge role model for me. She's my younger sister, 3.5 years younger than me, but she got married and had kids before me, so our roles reversed in a lot of ways. I'd go to her for the wisdom of certain things, and she got remarried, so she went through a bunch of crap and handled it so gracefully, and she was single and had these 2 little tiny boys at the time. And because she grew up with a sister that was always like, I know what I'm doing with my life. I am singing. I want to be famous. And she was like, I have no idea what to do. And I have this annoying sister's shadow to walk around in. It took her longer to figure out what she wanted to do with her life. And then she did. She's this amazing teacher and a writer. She's writing a book. And but she did it. She went back to school and got her master's with the 2 little kids. And so anyway, just her strength and Grace, really. It's been inspiration to me. Super, super smart and eloquent. And the role model thing with me and the characters I played, and they're always connecting to young audiences, is a beautiful thing, and it's also a daunting responsibility. One is that there's the age disparity is getting even bigger and bigger. So, you know, now, like the Frozen thing, there's like 6-year-olds, and then there's me coming. So, like, I do a concert, I'm on stage talking like a truck driver, and then I look down and there's like a mom with a little girl in a blue dress in front of me, and I'm talking about how so-and-so went up my shirt, and this, you know. So, and then I realize, oh, fuck, you know, like, and then I do that, and then it's like, it's just a constant mess. So, and the manager's like, could you please watch your mouth? There are these young kids. I'm like, I gotta be me. And so it's hard, you know. Also, there's that, but then there's also the part of just all these amazing characters I've gotten to play about, like, you know, young women finding themselves, embracing this thing in them that's super unique and beautiful, but sort of looked down upon by society, and then they finally harness it, embrace it, and do amazing things with it. That whole idea is great, but it's not always who I am, you know? So I specifically put Creep by Radiohead in my set last year when I was on tour, because it was an opportunity to just sing a song about feeling completely despicable, and letting them know that, like, I don't always feel like letting it go or defying gravity. It's not easy to wake up every day and sing songs like that, and you shouldn't have to. Sometimes you just want to feel really sorry for yourself and stay in bed, and that's okay too. So that's how I've been grappling with it.
That's awesome. I just had this vision of you in bed and the Creed song playing, like, over. And that's so real. I think this is a truth, by the way, with everybody we've talked to in that space, is this sort of pressure to be on for especially the little kids, and how to balance that with, you know, being a real human. And that maybe showing them that you're a real human is actually even a more impactful thing. Yeah. And with that, you know, in that vein, you know, just doing a little bit of research on you before this, there was some exciting real work that you've done with kids, and also in the philanthropy and activism space, which I didn't want us to go without talking about because it's so important. Weird factoid, my high school was the first high school outside the city of New York to support Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS in Marietta, Georgia, where LGBTQ rights were not very welcome at the time that we started collecting donations. And so I was particularly moved by your activism in that space. So thank you. And would love if you'd like to talk a little bit about what you've done and what you've been working on, maybe what's to come in that space.
Well, I was lucky enough as a kid, my parents would send me away to sleepaway camp. You know, it's a Jewish East Coast thing to do. And it was a privileged thing. And but it was a wonderful experience, an opportunity to escape, to kind of rewrite yourself as a kid. If you didn't enjoy your school year, it's a place to bond and make new friends and find yourself, really. And I always wanted to have a camp. And then as I got older and I started to have these experiences and these projects where it was connecting to young women, especially young women trying to find their voice, I realized that the camp had to be more than just what I experienced when I was younger, and be more meaningful than that. And so my college roommate, who's much smarter than me and was sick and tired of hearing me talk about this dream, pipe dream, and so she galvanized the whole thing. She's a business major, lawyer, you know, type A personality, got the thing together, and it's called The Broader Way, and we're going on our 7th year. It's a 10-day program where we take a bunch of inner city girls, mostly from Harlem and Lower East Side, up to the Berkshire Mountains in Massachusetts for 10 days to like a college campus that we lease the property for now. Eventually, hopefully, we'll have our own place. And we sing and we dance and we swim, Janine Tesori, who's like an incredible Broadway composer, wrote Fun Home and a ton of things. She's kind of like my creative director, and we bring up amazing veteran performers that come and work with them. But the whole thing is not to put on like Oklahoma with these girls. It's we encourage them to write a lot. They do a lot of spoken word. They write their own songs, lyrics. They choreograph their own movement. And so at the end of the 10 days, they come back into New York to a theater that's usually thankfully given to us for the night. And we put on a recital, concert, if you will, that's a complete collage of their original work. So it's and so we started with 30 girls the first year, and now it's become a 4-year program, and we've now at the point where our original girls came back and were CITs, only the ones that we felt were capable of doing that, because they still are only 15. So, and yeah, and so now we're up to like 80 girls or something, and that's a huge responsibility. And it's hard, all the fundraising and all that stuff. And also wanting to keep tabs on them through the year, because I always find, even as adults, when we're involved in like a really amazing project and then we're finished, we kind of crash, you know? And so imagine these girls who have these kind of shitty home life, a lot of them, and they go from this magical 10 days and then they go back in. So I want to make sure they felt like, you know, it wasn't over. And through the year, we we do little reunions, and they go see shows together, and we go see art and tap dance. We have like dance things and whatever. Anyway, so it's a constantly evolving foundation. Want to get to the point where we have college funds for them and things like that, but that's all in the future.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
That's really awesome.
Thanks.
And it gets me thinking also about sort of this journey you were talking about earlier about role modeling, because in a way, that's a place where you're becoming very human to them and them to you, and I think that's really awesome and remarkable. And with that, I want to do 2 more questions I'd be remiss of not asking. I would like to do some word association before we turn it over to the audience. This should be fun, everybody, especially given
that I'm so
the coffee.
tired.
Yeah, chug. And also, and I had one more in here. Oh, before we do that,
Yeah.
what's the one thing, we do work at Google, what's the one thing that we couldn't Google search about you?
So there's a lot out there.
I know.
I don't know.
Or you'd like us to know that you wouldn't normally talk about?
Because as you see, I'm an open book, so it's like I don't really hide that much. But I'm pretty much a slob, you know? I'm not dirty. There's a difference between dirty and messy. I don't like, you know, like oatmeal like left out for ants to eat. I don't like that. I like the counter to be clean. But like my clothes are everywhere. The bathroom's a mess. The towels, the things. The bed's hardly ever made unless people are coming over and I want to pretend that it's clean.
I love that, by the way. I also am messy and not dirty. There is a distinct difference.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
I shower all the time.
Thank God.
My hair's clean. I just don't like putting things away. I'm not very organized.
If you take anything away from here, we both showered today.
Yes.
But
I
we
did.
don't make the bed.
Exactly. I showered last night and this morning. And brushed
Whoa.
my teeth even. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a lot for a
Dang.
mother who, by the way, got up. My son slept at Dad's last night, but he couldn't take him to school this morning, and I didn't want the nanny to do that because I had enough time, so I got up, made his lunches, because Dad never makes as good lunch as I do, and then drove over there, which is 10 minutes away, completely in my pajamas, didn't brush my teeth, rolled out of bed. Yeah, I did it on Friday, and the paparazzi got a picture of me doing that, which was really nice. or I was dropping him off at Dad's. And they said I was going to daycare, dropping him off at daycare, and it was actually his house. It was Tay's house. It was like,
Oh my
get your
God.
facts straight. Like, I'm not. But anyway, what was I saying? So I was just a mess this morning. The lunch is the thing. Got him to school 10 minutes late. Every mom at the school is like perfectly coiffed with like 3 kids and a job. I don't know. And me and like Amy Poehler were like, we both go to the school, and she's the only one I know. Like, she'll roll out of bed. I could tell she rolled out of bed in her PJs and got the kid to school like within a second of being late. And I'm like, thank God for Amy, because these other moms are so annoying.
Respect that. I see some heads nodding in the room. Yes, we all love that. We've been there. Right on. Oh, I see some hands.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got to sleep in like cool sweatpants that with a cool rock and roll boot looks like you meant it, but you just slept and you wear the PJs to school, put on the cool boot, and it's like you meant it to happen.
These are pro tips.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I only have 1 kid. Some of these moms have 3. So I don't know. And they're skinny. You know what I mean?
That's LA, man. That's LA. We can't explain it.
Can't explain that.
I'm telling you. And then you go to New York, and all you want to do is eat a bagel. I'm like, can we please?
I know. That's like the minute I get there, I have to order from this deli. I've always ordered. I still know the phone number by heart. 212-989-3373. It's bagel on the corner deli. It's crazy. I have to have the bagel with cream cheese, a black and white cookie. It's like going to the movies and you have to have popcorn. As soon as I get to New York, that's what I have. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I respect that. No, did we all write down that number? I feel like that was a really good bagel rack for all of us we have a huge New York office, so this is actually great. And so with that, before we turn it over to the audience, I'm sure there's a lot of burning questions. A quick word association. 1 word, first one that pops in your mind.
Okay.
You ready?
No.
Here we go. Progress.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
This is the
honest.
name of my boyfriend, fiance. I hate that word. His name's Aaron. Progress. I don't know why he popped in. I think because because I think he makes me a better person. He used to be an actor, but now he's this amazing addiction specialist and has his master's in psychology and works in this rehab. And he's a Neanderthal, but he communicates well. And he's just, I feel like, I'm my best self when I'm with him. So I hate that I made it about a man, but I did.
Here we are. Progress. It stick out. We'll try another one. Music.
Walker came into my mind, my son Walker, because he hates mommy's singing, he hates Frozen, hates it all. But I got him to sit down at the piano with me. I just shipped my piano from New York to my new house in LA, and I got him to sit with me. And you can't tell a kid, you can't tell my son to do something. He has to find it on his own. Otherwise, he's like. But we started writing a little song on the piano together, and we titled it, and it was called. What was it called? Firehouse or something? I don't know. Anyway, it was a lot of like scary bass notes because he's into zombies and werewolves.
Nice.
But that was music to me because I've been waiting to have like a moment where I could somehow inspire him with my musicality.
I love that. Theater.
Home. Theater is home to me. No matter what has happened in my career, ups and downs, I always can go back and I end up falling into a wonderful show, whether it's hugely successful or not. I have this experience with a cast and community, and recording music is sort of more solitary experience, and theater is family and so yeah, home.
And time.
Time, T-I-M-E.
Yeah, time.
Time. I'm blanking. Time. Time for me is age, maybe Yeah. The man wants me to have a baby, and I'm like, just forget it, man. It's like, so it's time. Like, is there enough time? And if there is, do I even want to do that with this time? Or do I want to travel and have a life now? So it's kind of about the clock ticking time.
I love it. I lied. Last one. Joy. Yeah.
Yeah, joy is jumping on is the trampoline that I built in my house. Jumping with
Yes.
both boys, total release of energy, just jumping on a trampoline. It's like so much fun, and
Love it.
yeah.
I love it. And with that, I'd love to turn over to the audience. We have some mics in the middle. Anybody want to come up and ask a question? Oh, we already have one. Excellent.
It's funny you have the mics. You probably can just ask me. I probably don't even need this.
Hi there, my
Hi.
name is Shannon. First of all, I just want to make a comment before. Thank you for coming out, and I just want to tell you that I grew up like just so looking up to you. I lived in Arizona, and like I'm sure we all like listened to you, and maybe didn't get to see you on Broadway, and it was so cool because you came here to the Greek. It was your first time, I think, performing, and I came and saw you, and it was awesome because you were so real. I loved even just the times in between the music more than like your actual singing. So it's cool to see you. Like, to be honest,
I
like
appreciate that.
it was, so I just say like, I'm sure in case you don't hear it enough, because you said about the social, and I'm sure there are people saying good and bad, but like keep being like you and authentic and real, because like
Thank
people
you.
do respect that. So
Thank you.
thank you. Now I'll get to my question. So I'm always fascinated by like how people prepare for roles, and so I'd love to hear about when you prepared. How was it like preparing for like Maureen and Alphaba in that time in your life versus preparing for like Liz, which was like your kind of comeback to New York, and maybe that character reflected more of like you, or I don't know. I'm just maybe guessing.
Yeah.
And then how you prepare for like your album. Like how does it like juxtapose the preparation for like a character versus like
Well, there's technical preparation, which if it involves music, then there's like the singing aspect, literally the athleticism of what that entails, and preparing that, which means the teacher I told you about. It means like treating myself like if you were going to run the marathon, you wouldn't go run 26 miles out of nowhere, right? You build up. So I do all of this preparation. I meet with her. We go through all the music. We pick all the things like, oh, that's going to be hard on a matinee. And like I start singing a certain amount of time, literally time myself 15 minutes a day for a week, and then I start to move it up, and all of a sudden my voice gets bigger and the range gets bigger. So I treat that like an athlete. And then as far as characters go, it's changed because I feel like I have more of a technique and a process as I've gotten older. When I was younger, I used to kind of just throw it out there. But how do I prepare? It's more to me about the words, less about worrying about like, how does it feel to wear green makeup? Or, you know, I mean, I went and watched The Wizard of Oz and like watched Margaret Hamilton, but that was just to kind of get some cool ideas to play off of, and a fun cackle and her laugh, you know, or whatever. But for the most part, it's about the language, the words, knowing them in such a way that it's like song in a way to me, so that I can, it's like jazz, so I can just be in the moment and riff off of that. Yeah, it's about knowing that so well that you can just be open and receive. I'm not doing I'm not giving a good
no, that was
explanation of
no,
that.
that was good. Yeah.
I think that was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
So when you are in the middle of a run on Broadway or something, what is your daily routine like? What's it really like? Are you one of those people that rolls out of bed at noon and then
I was.
Because you work late, right? But
Yeah,
what
that's
is
what's so
that
hard
day
about
really
it.
like? I'd like to get a picture of.
Okay, well,
What is it like?
there's pre-baby and then there's post-baby.
Well, I was also going to. Secondarily, I'm sure it was different now than it was when we were doing Rent.
Yeah, no, it's sleep. It's sleep, sleep, sleep is the best healing for a voice, first of all. So as much sleep as possible, always. But sometimes you can't. And if you're nervous, you don't sleep well either, like the night before. But when you're in like a routine, I come home, I watch a movie, I'm wound up. So I get home and I'm up late because I still can't go to sleep. I just did a performance, so that adrenaline is still wearing off. So then, yeah, sleep in. I steam all the time. I'm like a big steamer, so I will sit and like in a shower. I'm not good for California. I waste a lot of water, but I like steam. I vocalize, and then make my way over to the theater. But with the child, it just changed it because all of a sudden, I couldn't get the sleep. I couldn't get everything was just thrown up in upheaval. But I feel like I end up enjoying myself more on stage now that I have a child because I'm like, well, I can't be perfect, so what can I do? He had a fever, and I'm trying to be a good mom. So I get up there, and then I end up doing better because I'm more relaxed because I just throw caution to the wind as opposed to like, I warmed up for 25 minutes, and I didn't drink any wine, and I didn't smoke any cigarettes, and I'm perfect, 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 and then I still miss the note. Oh, my God, So now I'm more of a human being, and I enjoy myself more.
That's great. Thank you.
Another one, yes.
First off, congratulations on your album. As another parent, I really enjoyed the Cinnamon and Perfect story.
Thank you.
Now, it's more of like a story of myself because after I heard you singing Defying Gravity in Wicked, it inspired me to start singing lessons because I have no theater background or singing background. I'm a total geek. But I started taking private lessons for a couple of years. I even started a chorus here at work, and some of the members are here. And I've always wanted to sing, but I've never felt as inspired as I did when I heard you sing Defying Gravity, and I just wanted to be able to sing along with that. And my singing instructor has also started off trying to teach me how to sing, kind of like you, the whole belt by shouting, which is a lot like yours.
Healthy shouting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
without destroying my throat.
Well, because like children scream all the time and they never walk around with laryngitis. So they do it in a way that's very free. So that's the thought process, not like screaming. It's that idea that you call across to the playground to your friend. You're like, hey, Johnny! And then you're like, hey! It's the same thing. That's how I think of it. And I would listen to Shaka Khan and Aretha Franklin and actually mimic them all the time to figure out how are they doing that. And so the best way to learn, I think, is to emulate people, and then because we're who we are, it'll never be them. It will still be unique and true to us. So anyway, I cut you off.
No, not at all. I just want to let you know how your singing has touched me.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So what are you singing in the choir? What kind of music?
We kind of sing everything. We sing summertime, we sing Disney music.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
That's great. I actually miss being in a choir.
Well, maybe if you would like to sing in a choir, I'm just connecting dots here as the moderator. It feels like opportunities abound.
I'm very out of practice though with the 4-part harmony and everything. It'd be cool. It's co-ed. It's obviously, yeah.
It's very cool. Oh.
So I have something I've been wondering ever since I saw Enchanted.
Yeah.
And at this point, you had, very well established yourself, both in terms of your acting and singing prowess. So it surprised me seeing you in a musical movie role without a song in the whole movie. So do you have any thoughts on?
Well,
why
it
not?
wasn't written as a singing part. And so I actually was so flattered because I was like, I know, I'm an actress. I'm not just a singer, So I was happy and relieved to not have to worry about singing because a lot of times it's, it's a relief not to sing. Or to worry about having it all there. So that I was happy about that. But once I was in it, they wrote something, and then it ended up just being superfluous because they were trying too hard. They wrote a whole song for me and the Prince at the end, James Marsden, and it got cut. And he knew it too. I was so excited. He's like, "This is totally ending up on the cutting room floor." I was like, "No, it's not. It's awesome." He's like, "There's no reason for this song to be in this movie. They're going to totally cut it." But thank you for thinking of that. But I was actually happy. And then I got to take my first day of rehearsal on that movie. I had to show up at a dance studio, ballroom dance studio, and dance with Patrick Dempsey and James Marsden this close and learn. And I'm not a dancer. People think because I'm from Broadway I can dance. I cannot. It takes them I have to have a special session with the choreographer to teach me 8 counts. That's how bad I am. But imagine having to go with those 2 hot guys and stand this close and try to be, it was heaven and it was hell at the same time. It's like,
Well, thank you for satisfying my curiosity.
I think everybody just had this wonderful vision in their heads of those 2 men at exactly the same
oh my
time.
God.
Amazing.
And you have to have your butt, it's like Dirty Dancing. This is my dance space, this is your dance space, He's gonna touch my arm like that. You know how he does when he Patrick Swayze does that thing, and
so nice.
and she's tickled by it. That's how it felt.
Let's all just take a moment and take that in for a second.
You know what I'm talking about, right? In the movie, okay.
Oh yeah, we got an enthusiastic on that side. Any other questions? We have time for 1 or 2 more. Anybody? Oh, look at that.
Hi, I'm Tom. So I was wondering, do you have a favorite song, and how often does your favorite song change?
Yeah, I don't, because it does change depending on how I feel. I can tell you that the things people would think I get sick of, like Let It Go or Defying Gravity, I don't get sick of singing them. Maybe it's the creature of theater or that I am, where you're always looking for something new, just the tiniest thing from show to show to keep it fresh. So that's an exercise that I enjoy. So either it's a little girl in the front row and I go oh, I'm gonna sing Let It Go to her today. She never saw a concert, or I sing it to my son, or I think of a new melody because I'm sick and I have to come up with something different because I can't hit the high notes. So then I'm oh, that was cool. Whatever it is, I give myself those exercises, so that can be fun. But it changes depending on the day, really. That's the cool thing about music, is what you bring to it. The song kind of unfolds differently. I used to sing Both Sides Now, Joni Mitchell, and that was a great song that would sort of just reveal itself to me differently every time I sang it, depending on what perspective I had, So that was nice.
I love it. And we hosted you in the Joni Mitchell room without even knowing this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Was she here?
It was the conference room we were in. It was called Joni Mitchell.
Really?
Yeah. Look at that, everybody. I know we have to wrap up because people have to get to their next meetings, unfortunately, in the workday, although I'm sure everybody would like to stay here for another hour. Yeah. If you could think of one piece of advice that you received that you'd want to share with all of us today, what's the thing that always sticks out in your mind? Piece of advice.
I don't know if is it helpful in this arena. I guess it could be in life's arena. Yeah, it's just, I feel like nobody's looking for a copy or a clone of somebody else. So as much as we want to be like other people and admire other people, the more we figure out what makes us completely unique, that will be the most desired thing, whether it's in the arts or it's in business, or so when you find that thing that sets you apart, that's the thing that's going to make you more desirable and successful. So, look, when we're younger, we think we should be like other people, and it's not till we realize that if we're as authentic as we can possibly be, that eventually that will you will reveal yourself to the world.
That's awesome. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. I
sharing
think
with
they
us.
gave you CDs and everything, and also like I think I'm on Google Play or something like that. And
I believe you are. In fact, download it on Google Play.
Cool. Okay.
Everybody, please join me in thanking
Thank
Idina
you.
for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.